This is the second part of the lesson that we did with Brooke and Mitch. If you haven't seen the first part, there's a link somewhere around here or down in the description. Enjoy the rest of the lesson. Yeah, now let's take a couple steps forward. Yeah.
It's kind of the same as the presses. I feel like I can hold my shape pretty well when we're really still, and then as soon as he starts moving, like it's really hard to stay on top of him.
I like lose touch with her feet, and especially when I start moving.
When I saw, I do the same thing. When I jump in, I sink into my wrist because my wrist goes loose. And then now I've lost the like strong connection me and Ben had. So really engaging the fingers and thinking about keeping this tight.
You want to fly for a minute?
Their chance.
Few steps. Backwards. Nice. Try a little turn to the right. Go up. Good job. Nice.
I just noticed the arms are kind of high. I feel like there's more strength being used than needed.
Sink down a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like you were more like muscling rather than like locking
just
it.
kind of sit on the scap.
What felt different for you?
I felt you engage a little bit. To pull the toes. And that really helped. Like moving backwards, me being able to, I don't know, connect with them and the direction we were going. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you felt that. That's good because you have that awareness. Yeah, as you were moving backwards, I don't know if you saw, but I started to fall this way and I had to really push into the fingers and pull my toes back to now follow the platform.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, as a flyer, it's like, I feel like I'm getting left behind and it's like, oh, how do I stay on my platform? And I try to like pull myself onto it.
Yeah.
Which in that instance was my fingers and my toes.
And then I do just want to talk to you about that point Cassie made about the scapula. So if you can kind of put your arms up like in your basing position. Okay, yes. He has this really nice alignment where like that push is going into his scapula, but kind of relax this a little bit. Keep that upward tilt, but don't push back into me for a second. Kind of find where it'll hang on your bone. So tilt if you can. So like think about rotating the elbow up rather than like shrugging.
Right.
And then just kind of let it hang. Don't resist so much, just like, yeah. Yeah, so you want to be like at roughly that height. You do want to be engaged. If you're like actively holding here, like you're going to fatigue much faster. You're looking as much as you can to just like leverage your skeleton rather than your muscles for kind of that baseline position. And then you're adding things on top of that.
I'm feeling like almost the more relaxed I can have these shoulder muscles, the better.
In terms of finding that position, like when we're actually in that, I'm pretty engaged. I'm like not maxing out. They're like definitely engaged. I'm not thinking about relaxing them.
Right.
But right now I'm trying to like find where that position is for you. And you're like, oh, I'm here. It's like, no. Like I still have that tilt here. Like this is a completely, like you can put a lot of weight on this. This is a completely passive position right now. You can squish me a bit.
Yeah.
But like notably, this isn't happening. So if my scapula is just like vertical and he pushes, like that's happening, the flyer falls straight ahead. So it's like, where do I have that tilt? Go ahead. Where it's like, you know, something like that might happen, but I'm stacked really nicely on my bones.
Right.
And now I'll push into you like I would if you were doing a hand to hand. So like I'm still there, but now I'm like actively meeting it and resisting it. So he's not compressing as me as much.
Right.
So it's like finding that like bottom position, providing some resistance there, but I'm not like trying to hold you like up here where it's like, you know, you already said like how much we're bouncing. So like I was actually resisting there. I still have that nice scapular position, so the flyer's not going forward. But like I have to work a lot harder than if I'm just like mostly relying on my skeleton.
Yeah, I think that's what I felt was like you like pulsing to keep the strength up there.
Yeah.
Rather than just settling into like the bone structure. Give it a try.
There you go.
Toes to your face, yep.
Oh, down.
Oh. I just feel like I'm not on the line.
Did you feel like you were falling this way?
This way.
I've had that before where Brooke feels like she's falling that way. I feel like she's falling this way.
I think Scott Cooper talks about the like skiing effect.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's like I'm falling this way, but that's gonna make my hands feel like I'm falling the other way. So there is this like confusion. I do the same thing with Ben.
Yeah, so you can imagine if you're like skiing on a mountain and like your weight is not over your ankles, right? And your skis are in front of you. Like what's going to happen is you're going to like do that, right? And you think that like, oh, the way that I fix this is by like leaning back more.
Pushing more weight into it.
Yeah, pushing more weight into the heel, that doesn't solve the problem. What you actually need to do is you need to get the center of the mass like back over the ski boot. Very much the type of thing where like what your brain tells you to do in this type of skiing situation is wrong.
Yeah.
But fortunately, like once you understand this principle, it's like a lot of different cognitive biases and things like that. Once you're aware of it, you can like start to correct it and like do the opposite behavior. And in those situations too, like not only can flyer think about like doing that, but as a base, like if a flyer is doing a handstand like this on me, I can do a couple things. Yeah, if I move quickly backwards to get their wrists back under their shoulders and then kind of adjust, it'll be there. And then I'll think about really keeping like that shoulder slightly in front of the wrist, like even as we're finding that adjustment, be you know, kind of coaching them to like stay there essentially.
Right.
Why are you getting the shoulders in front of the wrist?
So if the ski boot is the wrist, and the hip is the shoulder, then I'm trying to make that happen. That looks nice.
More?
I'm having to catch. Good God, that way.
You should be riding that edge. My guess is you're just like on it a little too. If you took your fingers away from his wrists, like you would slowly tilt. You wouldn't want to go right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you definitely want to be using your fingers as like a little bit of a counterbalance, but you don't want to be like death gripping and like super tiring out like your forearms and fingers on that.
Okay.
And then just like based on the stuff you're going to do, it looks like Mitch has been a lot of the time like kind of facilitating that, like chasing or like maybe walking or things like that. We need to stop doing that a little bit, and then this is going to take time for you to kind of learn how to do that because Mitch has been doing it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Head out. Oh, yeah, okay. Cool. I do see it does look a little underbalanced.
Yeah, that
Right.
one definitely looked underbalanced.
Yeah, and it looked like for me, I'm at a weird angle, but it looked like it was coming from the shoulders, just not opening and locking enough.
Okay.
I think they were just a little closed, which
Yep.
then keeps the weight falling backwards.
Okay.
And is a lot more work for you too in the chest.
Yeah, I saw the same thing.
Okay. I think I'm thinking bring the toes over, and I'm bringing the toes over by closing my shoulders
Yeah.
instead of by
Just
using
the
my
low
abs.
A lot of times people are training like hollow body holds.
Yeah. With
or
arms
like
up.
right, and they're practicing tucking the pelvis at the same time they hollow the chest. So then
Yeah.
when they go to like tuck the pelvis, they hollow their chest.
That's
So practicing keeping the upper body moving the lower body, keeping the lower body moving the upper body, it helps kind of like unwire, you know, things that fire together wire together.
Yeah.
It helps break that a little bit.
Okay. I think that's what's happening is you're wanting me to bring my toes over, and I'm doing it with my shoulders.
And your whole body changed just
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
which just is that practice and repping and re-patterning the body.
Isolating that.
Yep.
Do you want to try one with Ben?
Sure. Yeah.
I know you're tired, but he can might be able to feel something.
Okay.
Yeah.
make her feels.
That's right, you need a real man. None of this 6'3" Adonis stuff. You need a
Closer to the ground.
Yes.
You're gonna have like 2 feet less to fall on.
That's right. It's easier on your joints.
Just know the ground will be there sooner.
Oh, that one is real.
Age the back, the upper back, yeah.
Fingers. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
That's great.
Thank you.
How'd that feel?
I felt like the hand position was definitely different.
Yep.
So I think that was like the main thing.
Like the width or the grip?
it was
or-
like it felt like kind of like out here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So just different from what I'm used to
for sure.
Because I was like, oh, Mitch is pretty wide, but not quite like
Yeah, no, and like
Yeah.
with me, that's a quirk of my anatomy where I can't really pronate. So if my hands are here, like you're doing a handstand like this, which sucks.
Yeah.
So in order to like put the fly in a reasonable position, I bring that elbow out quite a bit. You know, it's going to be kind of a question of anatomical constraints. All other things being equal, like it's like going to be kind of better for all parties involved if you can be a little bit closer, but I can't, so we're there.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't feel bad though. I I don't know necessarily what was different, but I did feel a little less wobbly.
Yeah, when you squeezed the upper back, I don't know if you felt it, but everything like locked in, it looked like.
Yeah, I liked that. I think that cue was really helpful.
So I noticed a couple things, and like one of the things that I did that might be helpful towards the beginning just like shifts back to like really force you to be in the front of my hand.
Okay.
So that's probably the biggest thing. And then yeah, the things I noticed, this is like tired and you're not as well used to that.
Yeah.
But then the other thing too, you're very used to balancing in your heels. And there was like a little bit of this in the hand. So we want to have that like very much like this is a strong shape. I'm just pushing this shape. It's just like I'm trying to push more or less with my fingers, or like think about the relationship with the wrists and the shoulders with like some of these movements. But I'm not changing the angle. If you just take your hand and like spread it really wide, so you're trying to like maximize the distance between your thumb and your pinky, you'll notice that you get some tension on like your forearm extensors. And then with that tension, you can first like let's find the angle that we want to be on. Now we're super tight here. Now don't let me. Yeah. Now this is like kind of super tight, and I can't move it forward or backwards. And now I'm just gonna like even just with an open hand push into me quite a bit, like lean into me. Yeah. But keep that whole hand pressure. Yeah, I'm just pushing through this entire shape. And then we can like start to add these things. And then this is our grip. And then like, if you're falling back, I do this. If you're falling forward, I might, I might do that with you, but you would push, yeah. And then we're not doing that.
Okay.
And that's, the cue earlier when I was saying like squeeze the wrist, like that's ultimately what I'm talking about there, where I'm finding the hand shape and then I'm just holding this, even if I'm falling. I'm trying to use the fingers, not the wrist.
Okay.
Because that's something I would do, especially jumping into hand to hand. I would like rev and just fling myself off of him.
Yeah, I think sometimes I jump in and I drop into because I notice it on the ground.
Yeah,
and jumping on the ground, I can jump in onto the heel of my hand and then move myself forward.
Exactly. And in hand to hand, that's where our wrists sink, and then it's so hard for us to get back because it's a lot of strength.
Yeah.
That's something I find in a lot of my flyers when I'm trying to like teach them to keep weight in the front of their hands, and it just always ends up dropping.
Yeah.
And I've tried like cueing them and various things, but it's
So when I see that, the things I like to do are like exactly what I just did with Brooke, where I'll put the hand in like the right state, have it get there, and tell them to resist me. Just here, and that kind of cues them like, oh, okay, like it shouldn't be moving.
Right.
And then the other thing is like what I talk about there too. It's that if they're balancing the heels, I'll be pretty proactive about like doing that and
just like force them to do it.
Forcing them forward a little bit and just say, okay, stay. And if I have to, like doing like a little bit of extra pressure there. But I find that with anyone who can like kind of hold a handstand, like they can generally like pick it up pretty quick. Yeah. But it's just being really stubborn on like this doesn't move. And then making sure that they're balancing here. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And you did some good work. I think it's just kind of getting to the point of like fatigue where like doing more reps right now isn't going to be super productive, but I think we made a lot of progress. There's a lot of things to think about. There's one last thing I want to leave you with just thinking about too.
Okay.
Because you're coming down from like 15 feet in the air.
Yeah.
Right now, you're kind of starting to fall while he's still standing. So as much as you can, like, tell him down or whatever, but like keep your hips over your shoulders, over your wrists, and like let him like get low and twist you. And then you can start to like kind of compress and have like a lot softer landing on your legs instead of just going kind of timber, if that makes sense.
Because right now you're falling straight, is what he's saying, rather than like planching at the shoulders and on top.
Well, yeah. So the like step one is like hips kind of stay where they are or move slightly back, legs come down, and then let the base come down, and then you can like shoulders come forward a little bit, slow kind of thing. And you can maybe, if you want, just the video to the down. Basically, just keep your weight in the hand on the down. Yep. So whenever you're ready, say down. Whatever.
Down?
Yep. So she's there.
Right.
And she kind of like curled there, kept her center of mass low, but waited till I was here. And then even then she's able to like send the shoulders forward a little bit to give herself like a nice soft landing.
Let's do one the other way. Also here, watch, like I get into the hand to hand pretty quick. Like I try to snap into it.
Yeah.
And then how you're falling is like,
Yeah.
right? So it's a lot more.
Yeah. And like I'm like tiny, so like whatever.
Yeah, and Mitch
But
is more.
Mitch, you're like
Yeah.
super
So yeah,
high
as
in
much
the air.
as you can, just controlling like the hiking, come down.
I think I forget about it because I'm thinking about everything else.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'll be falling. I'm like, whoop.
I was gonna say I do the same thing. So what's been helpful for me is Ben doesn't love it, but I like it, is giving like how long are we gonna hold this for?
Yeah.
Are we gonna hold it for 10 seconds and then we exit out of it, right? Like we have a plan. It's not just let's hold it till we fall.
Yeah, 100%. And even if it's not like, let's hold this for 10 or 15 seconds, like falling uncontrolled is not really a good thing to practice. Like having this idea of like, okay, like I'm in this position, but I couldn't hold it for another 1 or 2, like let's say 2 seconds. It's like, okay, in 2 seconds, I'm gonna have to fall. Come down now, right? It's just like leave yourself a little bit in the tank so you can come out. And like there's a lot of parallels with things like strength training, and like even hypertrophy training and stretching and things like that, right? Where you don't want to be at your max all the time, because you're gonna fatigue more. Like yes, that particular repetition is going to get more out of it, but you're going to be able to do less quality repetitions, and it's going to be, in some cases harder on your body, particularly when you have consequences like this. So like always leave a little bit in the tank so that you can come back and do more reps. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to Brooke and Mitch for being such good sports and letting everyone watch your lesson. If you want to see more things like this in the future, let us know in the comments section. If you want coaching from us, you can reach out on Instagram or via email in the link that's in our bio, and subscribe for more content in the future.
They're worth it.
Thank you guys.
Bye everyone.
I didn't know we did the earthquake drill.
Yeah.
I didn't. I usually just get up there and he shakes me.
You're like, wow, Ben's pretty wobbly today.